Welcome back to the desk. We have Greg, Ryan, Danny, and Justin here to talk some football. But first, we bring in our correspondent, Wyatt Mays, to break down the AFC playoff picture. Wyatt?
Thanks, Mason. The Patriots are currently first in the AFC at a 9-2 due to a tiebreaker over the Raiders. The Ravens have the tiebreaker for third place over the Texans, with both teams at 6-5. The Chiefs have one wildcard spot at 8-3, with Miami in the other wildcard spot at 7-4. They have an advantage in the tiebreaker over Denver, and the Steelers and Bills are one game back at 6-5. The closest division race is the AFC South, where the Texans are a half game ahead of the Titans and a full game ahead of the Colts.
Now, guys, as Wyatt noted, the AFC South is the tightest race, so let's talk about who we think who's gonna win that one. Greg, we'll start with you.
Well, if you look at the standings on the graphic, you'll see that the Texans are first 6-5, 6-6 Titans, 5-6 Colts. Jaguars are way back there; they have no chance. I'm going with the Colts because Andrew Luck is easily the best quarterback out of any of those, and he could carry the team to victory.
I definitely agree with you, Greg. My difference maker is the best quarterback in that division is on the Colts, and his name is Andrew Luck.
Right.
The Jacksonville Jaguars eliminate them.
Sure.
The Texans have Brock Osweiler. Unimpressive. He played the San Diego Chargers this weekend. He looked awful. He looked lost. He played bad against a struggling defense, to say the least. And the Titans, they're young. They're going to have a bright future, but I don't know if Mariota's there yet, and he has been prone to make some bad late decisions in the game.
I absolutely disagree because the Tennessee Titans, Mariota is actually the best quarterback statistically in the AFC South. He has 25 touchdowns to only 8 interceptions, as well as DeMarco Murray already has 1,000 yards rushing, 8 rushing touchdowns, and 3 receiving, so he's much more versatile, making that team much more dangerous.
Danny, what do you think?
I'm going to have to agree with Justin and go with the Tennessee Titans. Listen, they've been playing very well lately, and they have a Week 13 bye. So after this bye, they're going to be coming back for that final stretch of the season rested and ready to win. The Houston Texans, they're at 6-6 because they're 5-1 at home and 1-4 on the road. They only have 2 home games left, and I don't trust Brock Osweiler to get them there. And as good as Andrew Luck is, and as good as I believe the Colts are, I think after this bye week, the Titans are going to come in hot to finish this season.
I still think Titans are a year away. If they could get some peace on defense, they could contend in the AFC.
Now, let's bring back our correspondent, Wyatt Mays. Now, Wyatt, the NFC playoff picture, it looks just as tight. Real close call here. How does this division look?
Well, Mason, in the NFC, the Cowboys have the top spot at 11-1. The Seahawks are 7-3-1, and the Falcons and Lions are tied for third at 7-4. But the Lions have the tiebreaker. The Giants have the first wildcard spot at 8-3, and the Redskins have the second wildcard spot at 6-4-1. The Buccaneers are on the outside looking in at 6-5. The Vikings fall right behind them at 6-6. And lastly, the Packers, Saints, and Eagles are also in contention, and they are a half game behind the Redskins at 5-6.
Now, guys, despite the Giants trailing the Cowboys in the division, they have the second best record in the NFC. As a Giants fan, I would like to see them reach the Super Bowl. Ryan, what do you think?
Listen, if we take a look at their rankings throughout the year, throughout the season this year, their defense is playing pretty well. It's a $200 million defense. I call it a $250 million defense. And if we look at their defense right here, rushing yards per game, 5th in the league. That's phenomenal. Built new. Beautiful front seven with Damon Harris and Olivier Vernon coming in. Passing yards per game, it's big, but a lot of the times the Giants, their front seven's so good, teams are going to be able to pass them and open up the game. Sure. Total yards per game, 16th, right in the middle. I mean, it's okay. And points per game, that's the important stat, 5th. They're giving up the 5th least amount of points per game. Tremendous. That's why the Giants are the first wild card spot.
Justin, what do you see?
I don't think the Giants are going to make the playoffs because if you look at the passing yard stats, with them being 24th and all the teams in the playoff picture are heavy air raid teams, being the Cowboys, the Falcons, the Redskins even. They're a heavy pass offense team, and I don't think the Giants defense could actually keep up with those teams.
Okay.
I agree with Justin. Based on the way things are right now, they'd have to play the Falcons in the first round. As Justin said, they like to throw the ball, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones. Then they have to play the Cowboys with Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott. Then if they beat the Cowboys, assuming there are no upsets, they'd have to play Seattle. And Russell Wilson is a big game quarterback.
Picking up on what Justin said, I do think the Giants will make the playoffs. And if we're speaking in technicalities here, yeah, if they make the playoffs, of course they can make it to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
But I don't think they're gonna. They're gonna get themselves in those playoffs. They're gonna have to deal with teams like Seattle, Atlanta, like you said, Dallas, and I just don't think they have the complete squad to be able to beat these teams.
Now, Ryan, you talked about the defense. Let's flip it on the other side because to make it to the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
you got to score points.
Listen, it's the total opposite. The defense, surprisingly, the Giants have had a problem with the defense. This year, it's their offense. Their rankings this year aren't very impressive. Eli Manning has looked okay, but their offensive line has not allowed. I mean, look at the rushing yards per game. 31st in the league, second last. It's because their offensive line can't open up any holes for Rashard Jennings, Paul Perkins, and the crew back there. Passing yards per game, again, Eli Manning's a great quarterback. They're 12th. Yards per game, 21st. Points per game, 21st. The offense is struggling, to say the least, and I think that's what can hold them back from that, 5th Super Bowl the Giants are going to have?
Right.
I think that's going to be the difference maker.
Justin?
I agree with Ryan. I don't think they'll be able to score enough points. They only beat the Browns by 14, and that was their first double-digit win this season. Everything else was by 6 points or less. So I don't think they'll be able to put up enough points to beat the other teams.
Greg?
Out of all the teams in the playoffs, they have one of the weakest offense. Like the Cowboys have the great rushing attack. The Seahawks, I mean, they've had some bad games, but Russell Wilson is still a great quarterback.
Yeah.
The Lions with Stafford, they throw the ball a lot. Atlanta throws the ball around. If you look at the Redskins, too, like Kirk Cousins, he's played great this year.
Now, guys, we got one more installment of Blas's best for the season, so Greg, we'll throw it to you. Take it away.
All right, we're going to start with number 5. Ravens against the Bengals. Joe Flacco's going to throw a backhorn of the end zone, find Rashad Perryman getting pushed out. He still makes the catch. They go on to win 19-14, a low-scoring game. Number 4, Titans-Bears. Mariota, we talked about him earlier, to Rashad Matthews, who's become their number 1 receiver. It was a close game, though. Titans only won 27-21 against a weak Bears team. Number 3 now, Broncos-Chiefs, a classic game. Simeon's going to roll out to his left. He's going to turn around. He's going to run all the way back across the field. He's going to find Jordan Taylor. However, the Broncos would lose in what proved to be an instant classic in overtime. Number 2, Raiders-Panthers. Derek Carr playing with the dislocated fingers, going to throw deep, and Michael Crabtree makes a catch on his back, loses his helmet. That ultimately set up a game-winning field goal for the Raiders. They won 35-32. Now the last play, Aaron Rodgers. How do you fit a ball into space that tight to Devontae Adams? They got back in the win column, winning 27-13.
Thank you, Greg. That's it for football. After this break, we'll hit the hardwood and talk some NBA.